Hey everyone, this is Adam Kelly. This video is part of the Unity coin collecting platformer series. If you haven't been following along, you can find a link to the playlist in the description. Otherwise, open up your project and we will jump back in.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna finish up the game and then we'll come back and we'll add lots more stuff. If you've been enjoying this part where you get to just drop things into the scene and build it out, you're absolutely welcome to take a break and do that right now, but I'm gonna focus on getting the functionality working and then we can come back and make it look nice and pretty. So I'm gonna create a new empty organizer spot here for what we're going to just kind of call for now interactables. Okay, and we're going to grab these coins, the coin collect task, and just drag them on top of here. And this will sort of keep things organized. So if we want to work with that coin collect task, we know it's all underneath here. I accidentally made a mistake. So if you don't change your position, then it's kind of in a weird random spot. It really doesn't matter, but because I'm a perfectionist and can't help myself, if I were to just change that to 000, then these coins would suddenly be moved because this entire parent object would move. In order to avoid that, you can take these and you can just move them out so that they're no longer parented to that. You can then change this to 000, and then you can bring them back in. I'm doing a shift select to select all of these. Okay, so the idea with this little game is that we're going to have a door that opens here when we step on a platform. So we've got a couple meshes we can use here. We have our door, and we can pull this in here. And we will make sure we set the material on it to rock. And then we just need to rotate it probably around 20 degrees again. That's 30 degrees. Let me get it more to like 20 something, 24. And then I'm going to hit W to move this in here. And then we hit the F key to focus on it. And then if we hit Alt, we should be able to click and rotate around it. So now we're seeing it looks pretty good from both sides. So that's really what we want. In this game, we're only going to see it from this side anyway, because we're going to hit a button and then it's going to come down. We'll bring this door into interactables. And then we need to get the platform. So we have this coin platform here. If I click and drag this into the scene, the idea is that if you stand on this platform, then you are going to trigger this door to open. So we'll put this down here in interactables as well. Now, I've added these to the scene. Actually, let's do materials really quick. So we'll create a new material. Where am I? Material. And we'll call this maybe stone. And we'll make it not rough. We'll just make it a little more gray maybe. And then we'll drag it onto here. And we never created a coin material, so maybe we can do that too. We'll create a material and we'll call it coin. And let's give it sort of a yellowy, more in the orange direction. You can change whatever color you want, really. If you want a bright blue one, that's cool too. But I'm going to do sort of a pale yellow. And then what I'll do is I'll increase the metallic. And so it should make it look more metal, especially if we increase the smoothness. Oh, we're seeing it down here because I never applied it. Let's apply it here. That might be a little too smooth, maybe, just because it's not moving. So now we've got this sort of like metal looking thing here. And we can also go back over here and apply this to our coins here. Okay, so these look pretty metal. I might actually increase the saturation a bit here just to make them a little more yellow. Okay, so now we've got these coins. It would probably be cool if they rotated, so maybe we'll come back and do that at some point. But for now, we've got our coin material there. Okay, great. So these do not have colliders on them yet, so we should probably add that. So what we'll do is we will add a component to this, and we'll add a mesh collider. And let's expand that. And we can probably set this to convex because there's some extra detail in here that makes this unnecessarily intricate. If we do convex, it makes it nice and simple. Let's move this up just a tiny bit. We don't want to get stuck on the edge of it really, if we can avoid it, but like having a little more definition might be nice. And then I'll just rotate this just a little bit to sort of face the door. And then let's add a mesh collider to this as well. I don't know why it keeps, oh, it didn't minimize it on me that time. This one probably is safe to do convex as well. Okay, so now if we walk up to this, we won't be able to get past the door. Of course, we could walk around, but we'll get to that. So this next part that we'll be working on, we will make it function so that when we step on top of this platform, then the door moves, but only if we've collected all of the coins that we intend to collect. We need to add some more functionality here in order for this to work. So let's go to our scripts folder, and we're going to create a new script. We're going to call it door trigger. Now open this up in Visual Studio, and this one's going to be pretty simple in concept, but it's a little more complex than it would be nice if it was. I'll just put it that way. So we will, I think we're going to actually keep the start and update functions here. And we'll start off by adding a few variables. So I will just copy and paste these in and talk about them. So we're starting off with 4 public variables. One is the coin collect task. So this is basically the door trigger is going to keep an eye on this task, and it's going to check to see, have all the coins been collected yet? If so, we're going to open the door. Then it's going to have a game object called door. And that basically means it's going to have a door that it has a reference to that it can move. Then we'll have a door open duration in seconds, which is how quickly should that door go from fully closed to fully open. And then a door open vector, which is a direction that we want this to move. And so the idea is that we would change this based on whether we wanted it to open in a certain direction and how far we want it to move. So the way I have it right now, it was actually set originally to open upward, and it would go 2 meters up. But we want this to probably go downwards, so we might as well figure this out right now. If we go over here and we look at this door, as it is right now, I don't know why the Y moved on me. Let's change that to 0. If we move it, how far do we have to move it for it to be fully down is the question here. So we're at 0 right now. If we move this to be fully hidden below the level, then we have to go down negative 8.72. So we'll undo that, and let's just set this to negative 9. And we could have changed this in the editor. In fact, if I go back there, you'll see, hold on, it takes a sec. Once we add to this coin platform, once we add this script, we're going to add the door trigger to it. It has the option to change this, but now it defaults to negative 9. So that's the idea there. While we're here, while we're looking at this, we might as well take our coin collect task and drag it into here. By the way, if dragging has been difficult, you can also click on this little circle, and you can find something in the scene that you want it to be. So you can click here on scene, and then here I want to use the door. So I'm going to click on door to use for the door object. And so now it's hooked up so that if this trigger, which there isn't a trigger on this yet, but once we hit the trigger, then it's going to cause this thing to move. So back to our script, we need to add a few more variables. And I'll just paste them in here. And we're going to keep track of some movement things. So basically every time a new frame is rendered, we're going to move the door a little bit. And so we're going to say, we're going to keep track of whether the door is currently opening, whether it's fully open, the start time, when it started opening, basically, and the door start position, so that we can create basically a movement offset from that starting position. That's the idea here. So make sure those are all private variables, and then we'll be able to add some functionality. So the first thing we'll do is when the game starts up, we want to get the door start position. So we're going to set door start position here in this start function equal to door.transform.position. So this is just keeping a reference to where we're starting. And then we need something that's going to actually trigger this door to open. So let's go down here, and we're going to say, and we're going to create a new function called private void on trigger enter. And this is a special Unity function, just like we used before. And what we're going to say is if other dot compare tag, and we're going to compare it to player again. So this is the same as how it worked with the coins. And not is fully open. So this is just saying if we've touched the player and the door is not fully open, and coin collect task dot all coins collected. So we're saying we need to make sure that all the coins are collected before we proceed, and not is opening. So these things all must be true for us to sort of start opening the door. So it can't already be opening. It can't already be fully open. You have to have all the coins, and this must be a player that's touching it. If that's all the case, we're going to set is opening to true. And then we're going to say open start time equals time.time. And so this will take the current time in the game, and then it will set that to the open start time so that we can move something relative to where we are in time. Now let's go into the update function, and this is where we're actually going to do that opening logic. So we'll say if is opening. So we only want to do this if the door is opening. I'm going to copy in some things here. We're going to create a new variable called open time elapsed. And we're going to set it equal to the time minus the open start time. So basically we get the current time, we subtract the starting time, and that should give us how long this door has been opening for. And then we want to do an if statement. If open time elapsed is less than door open duration. So basically, if we said we want this door to open in 2 seconds, we need to make sure that we're only still moving it while the amount of time that has elapsed is less than that 2 seconds. So inside of this part of the if block, we're going to say float door progress equals open time elapsed divided by door open duration. So we're getting that fraction of how far the door has gone. So if we've gone, 1 second out of the 2, we're going to take 1 divided by 2, and we're 0.5 of the way to that final open destination. Then we're going to set the door's location. So door.transform.position, that's the location of the object. We're going to set that equal to that starting position, plus we're going to take a door open vector. So that's how far the door, or like how far the door is going and in what direction. And we're going to multiply it by the progress. So if you think about this, we have a vector that's going down -9 meters. If you multiplied that by 1, it would move the entire door down 9 meters. If you multiplied it by 0.5, it would move that down by 0.45 meters. And so we're taking that start position, moving it down by some fraction along that vector. Now we'll need an else in here. So basically, if we are beyond that door open duration, we're going to do 3 things. We are going to set the door.transform.position equal to the door start position plus door open vector. Basically, it's possible that you might get to a point where it's not fully open yet, but we're kind of at that last point. We're beyond that open duration. So we just want to move it to that final position. We'll just set it directly there. It should only have to move a very fractional amount. And then we'll set is opening equal to false, because we're done opening, and is fully open equal to true. We should have all of our functionality working now. So let's go back into Unity and let's add a trigger to this coin platform. So we already have a mesh collider on this, but it's for making sure that we can't just walk right through this platform. We can also add a second collider here. So we will add a component, and let's create a box collider this time. And that's actually pretty good positioning now, but you can also make sure it's actually maybe not the best. So let's lift it up just a tiny bit so that if you're standing in the center, you're still technically inside of this collider. So we will increase the size of it along the y-axis like this. And then that's pretty good. It doesn't need to be super precise. We might even want to limit it to just that center portion. Something like that. So that you have to be standing on that coin. I kind of like that. So we'll set this to 2, 2, and why not 2? So what that's going to do is basically create this platform so that when you touch this, then it's going to trigger something to happen. But you have to turn on is trigger. That's super important. So what will happen is, because we're on is trigger, once it's triggered, it's going to call this function. If we are tagged as player and all of these conditions are met, then it's going to start opening the door, and then it will eventually open up that door depending on the settings that we gave to it. So let's give this a try. This should work. So we're going to hit play, and it's kind of a long way to run if I don't collect these coins now, but so I'll collect both the coins. We should have both coins collected. And then I'm going to walk all the way over to this platform, stand on here, and then our door opens. And then we get our reward of being able to enjoy this nice pond with all of these pretty plants. Now, just to show you that this won't work, let's say I only collect 1 coin and I leave that one behind. If I come up here, then it should fail to open this right now. And indeed it does. So we've got this awesome setup now where we can create this coin obstacle course. We have to collect a certain amount of coins, and then we can go over here and open up our door. Hey, we really hope you're enjoying the course so far. If you are, make sure to check out the rest of our courses on immersivelimit.com. There's other Unity and Blender related game development stuff that you'll probably be interested in. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.